What's up, everybody? Jeremy and Ginger here, and we are back.
We're here.
Took
Yeah.
a bit of a break from this podcast.
Yeah, we're super excited to be back because I just felt like I needed a little time after having Evie, and it's been 3.5 years.
Yeah.
So it's time. It's time for us
We
to
had
jump back
we had
in.
1 year of podcasting, and then
Yeah.
we took a 3.5 year break,
Yeah,
and I think that's enough time of a break.
I think so. I think it's time for us to jump back in. We're excited to be able to talk about some topics that you guys want to discuss. You want us to discuss, and so it's going to be a good time. I'm really excited for it.
Faith issues, family stuff, different questions you guys send in.
Yeah,
So send in questions.
please do. Yeah.
Wherever you're listening to this, you can comment if it's on a podcast platform or YouTube or short form on social media. Send in your questions, and we'd love to chat about it. So today we're going to kick this thing off because if you're watching this on YouTube, you're probably wondering where we are because we're not in our house.
Well, we are in our house.
We are in our house, but we're in a new house.
We're moving.
Yeah.
We moved.
We moved. Past
So-
tense. It's happened. We moved.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about that. And actually, someone asked us just recently if we are ever going to leave LA, but not just leave LA, but become homesteaders. So leave Los Angeles and pick up homesteading. And so I think today's the day we talk about it
Let's talk about it.
because we've left our house, we've moved, and you've moved not a ton in your life. We've moved in the last 5 years, I think 3 times, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. Just about every 2 years or so.
Yeah, so we left
Almost.
Texas in 2019. Then we went to North Hollywood from Texas to North Hollywood. And then we were in North Hollywood for 3 years. And then we moved into our last home. We were there for 2 years, and now we're here wherever
Yeah.
we are.
And in Texas, we moved from our apartment to the house.
Yeah, that's right. Oh yeah,
So,
we actually
It's crazy.
we've been all over the place.
Yeah. we moved
So
multiple times.
did you move a lot growing up?
I feel like growing up, I didn't move a ton. So we had like an old house that we called the old house.
Oh, you really called it
And-
the old house?
Yeah, the old house. And
That's funny
so
because your family right now, your house is the big house.
it's the big house.
So did you always have names for your houses?
It's actually really funny. We did. We call it the old house. I didn't even think about it. The old house was where I was born. I was literally born at home. My mom had 2 home births. I was number 6 of the kids. Joseph
Wow.
was number 7. And she just decided to have both of us at home.
Wow.
So we were born at home. And then the old house had like all these fun features. So it was on like I think it was like an acre and a half, but I'd have
Wow.
to ask my family. I think an acre and a half of land, had tons of fruit trees around, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And then, anyhow, so the old house was cool. We ended up selling that to a church because basically, like, they bought up all the property around us and they really wanted our plot of land. And so we sold it to them.
Is that what motivated you
And-
guys to move to build a house?
I think that we were outgrowing that house. If I remember
That
correctly,
sounds
it
right.
was pretty small.
Yeah, that sounds about
I mean, we outgrew every house that we were in, basically.
yeah.
But it was crazy. So we went and moved out of that house, and then they like demolished it. Which, if any of you guys watched that show,
What year would that have been? If they were to go back into
Goodness.
the archives of the show, what year would that have been?
I have to think. I was young. I was like really sad that they were tearing the house apart.
Yeah.
I must have been. I don't know. I mean, they were filming, so
12.
maybe I was like 10. I think it was one of the first ones, right?
Okay.
The first
Wow.
ones, maybe 10 or 11 or 12, somewhere
Yeah.
around there, right? So anyhow, old house. Then we moved to a rental house because we started building the big house, but the big house was not done yet. It took a long time to build. And so
Did you ever
we
name
lived
the
in a
rental
rental
house?
house. What is that?
Did you name the rental house?
It was the rental house.
Okay. I
Yeah,
like it.
it was a rental house. Very, very straightforward. That's how we roll. And so the rental house was fun. Like, we had a fire department that was right next door to us, so it was super cool. They would like spray their fire hoses to test them, and in the ladder truck and everything, they'd spray it over the fence, and we'd go back behind and like
Seriously,
get sprayed with the water hose. It was really fun.
that's awesome.
So that was the rental house, and then which one? What are we at now? We moved out of the rental house, and
Yeah.
the only reason they rented it to us was because they were about to demolish it. They're like, you can't mess up this house anymore. So we'll rent it to you because
Right.
we're going to demolish this one as well.
So we'll rent it to the family with 12 kids
Yeah,
at that point
they
who are
did.
just going to
Yeah.
tear this thing apart. Did you guys tear it apart or did you
Oh, we
take
had
good
more
care
than
of
12 kids at that point,
it? Oh, really?
right? Didn't we?
I don't know. I'd
like
have to
we
go in the
did.
timeline. Did
don't
you take good care of it, or was there painting on the walls and drawings?
It was
and
fine, actually. We did a great job taking care of it. I just remember the only thing is when we moved out, it was carpet, kind of like this maybe.
Yeah.
And it like fried. Somebody dropped an iron. And they were like, I think a couple things. There was like an iron indentation in the carpet when we left. But then they ended up not tearing it down. It still is like there today, I think.
Really?
I think so. I'll have to go back and look.
That's
but
crazy.
they basically like rented it out to an insurance company.
Wow. So is it
Yeah.
it's like offices now?
Yeah, it was. I think it was like a State Farm insurance
Wow.
branch or something.
So then you moved from there to the big house, but you guys built the big house.
The big house, we did build it. I mean, I didn't build it. I
You
had,
helped?
Like a little bits, like
What
a
did
couple
you do?
screws here and there. I don't know. I mean, I would like clean up, help out with laying the PEX pipe, which was like under our floors. We had concrete floors, but under that we put pipes for hot water heater. So basically like to have heated floors, you put lines and you have to tie them to mesh. And it was like massive project because our house was 7,000 square feet.
Yeah.
And so you had like all of that and it had to be within, I don't know how many inches it was. It was like every like inch or so you had to put PEX pipe and you had to twist these little metal wires together, which I just remember my fingers hurting.
So you just do that all day for
Yeah. And it was like winter when we put it in. So
Wow.
that was fun.
crazy.
Yeah.
And then that's the home that you guys you basically grew up the rest of your childhood there.
Kind of. Yeah. We moved a couple times. So my dad was in politics. And so we moved to Conway, Arkansas. We moved to Little Rock.
But you kept the big house. You just rent for
we would
6
just
months
rent.
or
So
something.
we would move for like
Yeah.
for the term when my dad was like in session. We would move down to
Would
Little
you
Rock,
get like
3.5
would
hours
you
away.
get a rental truck and what did it
Yeah.
feel like you were moving?
Yeah, we'd get a
Pack
moving
everything
truck.
up?
We wouldn't bring everything, but we would bring like necessities. And so
Yeah.
we'd live there for like however long the session was. I don't remember. So we'd be there whenever he was like had to be at the Capitol every day.
Wow.
Then we'd all move down there. Some like state representatives or like state senators would just like move and leave their families and they come back on the weekends. But I was glad my dad didn't do that. Like
Yeah.
he just hauled us all down there, found a rental house. We actually lived in a house that was really old for a while. It actually kind of reminds me of this house. And it was called the Cornish House. And you could probably actually find it if you look it up, the Cornish House in Little Rock. And
I'm gonna look it up.
was so charming. And it had like 3 stories. We would like run around. The top story was like a ballroom. And I guess we just like,
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You rented this house?
which one is it? Let me see.
Cornish house.
The Cornish House. Yeah.
Let me see.
It was our house. So it was one of the cheaper homes that we could find because it was not everything was like.
Oh, there's a ton of history. Is that it?
Yeah. That's our house that we lived
Wow.
in
Let me see. Can you guys see that?
for the while we were there.
It's crazy.
So we rented the Cornish House.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the Cornish
got some
House was
history to it.
actually, we moved there when Josie was in the hospital. So my mom had my youngest sister at 25 weeks gestation.
Wow.
And so she was 1 pound, 6 ounces. when
Ginge,
she
you
was
lived in a
born.
museum. There's like plaques outside of it.
Oh, they're like, so
That's crazy.
I wish you could see
Edward
this
Cornish.
room.
Look at this guy.
Yes.
That's who.
Yes. I wish that you could see this room because it has like these little like beams with these corner pieces of wood. Well, in the Cornish House, there were faces. Those parts were faces. They
Oh,
were
wow.
carved out. And it was a little creepy.
Yeah, that is a little creepy.
It was a little weird.
So for Josie though, you were there for 6 months,
6 months or so.
and she was in the hospital that whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. So we
Wow.
we had moved to Little Rock at that point. Goodness. My dad served 2 terms in the Arkansas
Yeah.
state house. And so I can't remember how long those sessions lasted. So we had gone to Little Rock and Conway, which is like, they're 3.5 hours away from us. We had moved down there multiple
Wow,
times.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So you're not a stranger to moving. I didn't move. Well, I grew up. I lived on 338 Highland Ave in Downingtown, Pennsylvania, until I think the last couple of years of high school. We moved to my house now, or my parents' house, So I wasn't familiar with moving a ton, and I'd see my friends move, and I always wondered, like, man, it must be awful to move homes.
Yeah.
But here we are now with Felicity's lived in 1, 2, 3, 4
Four.
homes, 4
This is
different
her
homes.
fourth.
Hopefully this will be her last home that
Yeah.
she lives in. But so I wasn't really familiar with moving a ton, but you moved all the time as a kid.
Yeah.
It seems.
Yeah.
Not as much as like a military kid who's
No,
all over
no,
the
not
place.
like that. I mean, it didn't feel like we were moving all the time, but looking back, we were.
Yeah. So talk about what you hate about moving, what you love about moving.
Well, let's see. So what I love about it, I'll just start there. I love being able to declutter. And I wish I would have done that before we moved into this house. I just didn't have the ability to get everything done. So we
Right.
moved all of the junk over here. And then I'm going to sort through, declutter. Yesterday, I was going through tons of storage bins that have been in the garage. And in the garage, it was so hot. So I would never want to go out there and like sort through everything. And if I
Right.
brought it in the house, I was like, well, we're having company over tonight. I don't want to bring in these bins and then pull everything out and have nowhere to like put it. So I just waited until we moved here and then went through all of those. So I like am getting rid of a ton of stuff now. We have stuff to sell, stuff
Yep.
to give away. A lot of your books.
I have too many
are
books.
there. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, you had a lot
This,
that were
the
just
book saga
stored.
just continues in my life.
Yeah, it does.
Because now I've got an office here. I've got an office at the seminary. I'm spreading my books between, and I still don't have enough space. And so it's time to just say
You're just going to give them away.
some have to just go on become
Yeah.
ebooks.
Yeah.
Every time I move, remember
Mhm.
when right before we got married, I was living in a single bedroom apartment, a 1-bedroom apartment on the first floor of the apartment complex
In Laredo.
in
That was
Laredo, Texas. And then
Yeah.
we got married, and I think right before we got married, I moved up to a 2-bedroom on that same complex, but
Yeah.
second floor. And I just remember that day, I just packed up all my books and walked them up the stairs to the second floor and just thinking in my head every 5 minutes, I don't know why I have so many. I'm going to just do ebooks. This is ridiculous.
then
We
those
have the
books-
internet.
The thing is, though, those books came with us, and I think some of them ended up here, and now we're giving them away.
Oh, yeah. So
So-
you look back and go, why? Why did I
I
spend
think
so many
books
hours?
are beautiful, and like if you're gonna
They are,
read
yeah.
a book, you like to actually like highlight it, underline it, and you can do
Yeah.
that on like I don't know, like any of those platforms,
Kindle or Logos or something.
Yeah, so you can do that, but I think it is nice.
Yeah,
I like
there's-
them for the aesthetic of books. It's nice to like have.
Well, there's
them.
some books that I would never read online,
Yeah.
like biographies, Christian
Yeah.
biography or otherwise. There's some you need in your hand, but then there's some that are just like data,
Yeah,
and so I just need the data, and
You just
that
need
I
to
don't
get
mind
through it.
having on the ebook.
it makes sense.
So I use Logos, and that Logos has hundreds
And you'll
of books.
use
so-
Audible a lot too. Like you just
Well,
like plow
now I
through.
do. So here's a question, and this is maybe a question for our listeners, because I've had this debate with some of my buddies, and I wonder what you think on this. Is listening to an audiobook reading the book? So if I listen to, the other day
Yes.
I listened to Fahrenheit 451, and then I told someone, yeah, I just read Fahrenheit 451. Is that true?
Yes, it is, because you got the content. Like I've had people say, I read your book, and I was like, oh, that's great. And then they tell me what they like appreciated about it. And they said, I listened to audiobook and I like
and
the audio version.
you don't feel betrayed when they say that?
No, not at all. Cause I mean, I sat down for 2 days and recorded that. So
Yeah.
I hope they appreciate it.
So they listen to you read the book. So it counts as them reading the
Of
book.
course it does.
Yeah, so I guess
I
as a
think it's
kid,
only if you're like actually paying attention and you're
right,
like,
right.
you're like dialed in.
Yeah.
Because I think even with podcasts and stuff, like even with this podcast, you can listen to it. You can be like walking around the house doing stuff. You can be commuting and you can like zone out.
Right.
With reading, you can zone out too. So I think
Totally,
that that's
yeah.
possible. I can go like a whole paragraph and then I'll have to read it 2 more times.
Have you ever been driving and then the realization hits you that you're not paying attention? You go, how have I been driving
Oh,
the
that's
last 10 minutes?
terrifying.
But that
I
happens,
hate
right?
that. It happens.
Same things with books where you're reading
Yeah.
and you go, what have I just been reading?
Yeah.
Like, where was my mind?
For sure. So I
Yeah.
think that that's the same thing. It is the same thing with like audiobooks. So you can easily zone out because maybe you're not as focused, or if
Yeah.
you're like listening to audiobook and doing something on your phone,
Right.
you know.
Okay, well, I want to hear if you guys think, just comment wherever you're listening or watching this, if you think it counts to listen to a book as reading a book.
Okay.
So I
What
don't know
things
how
do
we
we-
got to books. Oh,
What
because
things
of
do
moving.
we not like? about
moving? Well, yeah, the
what
heavy
do you
books.
not like?
I feel a sense of overwhelmness, but I can't put my finger on it. We're living out of boxes. We're excited to be in a new place, but there's just some feeling of maybe unsettledness.
Yeah.
You know how after a long day of work, or you've been out all day, or you're exhausted, you just can't wait to get home and be in that familiar space.
Yeah.
When you're in a new place and you don't know where things are, I'm always asking you, like, where are my belts? You know, because we're moving stuff. Everybody's moving stuff around. So I just feel like that leaves me a little unsettled. I don't know why. So that part of
that's
moving is a little
natural.
bit like overwhelming, I guess.
Yeah.
But
That makes sense.
I don't know. Our moving, we had so many friends come and help us move.
Yeah.
And so that was actually a really fun day, because typically it can be overwhelming and you're just thinking about all your heavy stuff like the piano and books and couches. But then to have friends come over and you just spend the day together, you get Costco pizza, you all eat lunch, you're exhausted, you're working hard, you're listening to music. It becomes really fun. And so it's like an event. So I appreciate that part.
Yeah.
But
the other side, so I said the thing I like about it was being able to declutter. The only thing I don't like about it is not decluttering beforehand.
Yeah. Because then you've moved all this stuff and you're like, why did I move this?
It's embarrassing. I have so much stuff. Like, I really don't want to focus on that. But
oh, you mean embarrassing because other people are seeing it?
Yes. It's terrible. Like, I went to the garage and I was like, can we just leave this door closed? We'll just like hire a mover to do the garage.
So the typical parts of your house that nobody ever sees, like the garage, you have all your friends in there picking this up going, Ginger, what do we want to do with this? And you're opening the box.
I'm like, we should just take that to Goodwill, but I don't have time right now. Throw it in the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really great. It's
so
really
it is true. Every time we've moved, we have sworn off earthly possessions and committed to a life of minimalism. But then that dissipates as things get put away.
Oh my goodness.
So we forget about our commitment. We should stick to it, though. A minimalistic lifestyle. We're just talking about our friends who are genuine minimalists, and they just keep things tight. Okay, so we're going to try to be minimalists. Homesteading. Are we going to do homesteading ever? Are we going to ever leave Los Angeles and become homesteaders? Do you have a desire in your heart to live off of the land, be completely self-sustained, live off the grid, have a brick phone?
So this is the thing. I don't want to live off the grid because I feel like we're just not in that age anymore.
Yeah.
And I have like a desire to be healthy and to eat more like whole foods and things like that. I do not personally love growing things. I feel like it maybe if I get into it, maybe if I have somebody come instruct me on how to grow plants and all of that, I don't know why. I just don't have a desire to do it. And so we have like a local, farmer's market. I love that. Like any of those
Let someone
local
else
places
grow it.
where they can like get the healthy, you get all the benefits of the food that they have grown, and it's not covered in like chemicals, pesticides, all that stuff. It's amazing. But for us to grow it, I don't know. I don't have any desire to be a homesteader.
They do the work, we get the produce.
Yes, and it's healthy. I want to eat like healthier. That's our ambition. That's our goal. We don't do the best at it. Like right now, I feel like since we moved, we'll talk about this later, but we're in Reno right now, and so we don't have a kitchen. So
a day before we moved into our home, we decided to do demo day on the kitchen, and
it's really smart.
So now we're living off of a skillet.
It's great. So we have a skillet that we can use. We just don't have like a kitchen sink to wash it in. So I have to like get all the food out, make sure it's totally basically clean, and then I can take it either into the bathroom sink, which sounds disgusting, or outside like with a water hose.
I wonder if that counts as homesteading. Are we roughing it because we don't have a kitchen? I don't know. I don't think so.
No.
So I don't think we're cut out for the homesteading life, although we love the benefits of homesteaders.
Yeah.
So we have friends who are really about that life. They just got chickens.
They are legit.
They built a chicken coop.
They've got
They've got honey. Their honey.
Yeah, I just made
they have bees.
Felicity some like a coffee milk, she calls it. It's like steamed milk with honey.
So they're set up to produce like
bees,
gallons of honey.
Yeah. It's
hundreds of eggs.
Yeah.
Their own produce, and they tell us, "Hey, do you want weekly eggs?" And we're like, "Yeah."
Yeah. I'm like, I'm just have to buy some.
So I think our
from them.
answer to the question of will we leave Los Angeles and become homesteaders is no, but we will take advantage of other people homesteading and
Yeah,
buy their produce.
I like it.
So are we leaving Los Angeles? I guess that's the question.
Are we leaving LA?
Do you like LA? People are always telling us it's ridiculous that you're in LA. I could never live in California. Join the mass exodus to Austin, Texas.
Sometimes that sounds nice. Like when you look at the taxes here, I'm like, yeah, let's leave. But other than that, no. I mean, I feel like LA is such a unique place. When I step outside, I'm like, oh, just love how beautiful it is. The weather's usually pretty nice. Right now it's boiling. It's hot, but usually it's like bearable and it's just nice. I mean, I don't want to leave LA. So if God took us elsewhere, like, and that was in his plan, we would go, in a heartbeat. But we're so content here. We love LA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at this.
Aside-
Actually, look, I got this from like a street vendor yesterday. My little LA. So we're committed.
Aside from the earthquakes and the fires
Yeah.
and the droughts and the roads and the traffic and some of the politics
Okay.
and the taxes
Yeah, a few things.
and the
Mhm.
overcrowding
Yeah,
and the smog and air quality,
True.
LA is beautiful.
we love it.
I
We
love
love
it.
it.
Yeah, it's great. So no plans to leave LA, and we moved, but we did not leave LA.
Yeah.
So we're still here in Los
We're here.
Angeles. We're here to stay until God tells us to go elsewhere.
Yep.
So new house, new beginnings, new home, but
Love it.
same city.
Yeah, we're going to take you guys along on this little adventure we have just embarked upon. There's a lot that needs to be done around this house, and so we'll show you some of that in upcoming vlogs, give you guys a little bit of a glimpse into our world, even on social media, on Instagram. I'll probably be hopping on there, showing you what little projects I'm doing. We'll throw much more on the vlog here as well.
For sure. So this house is a beautiful home. It's ready to be moved into, but there's some projects we can do.
Yeah.
And so you love that because you
Yeah.
love the DIY, you love the projects.
I'm not very good at it, but I'm feeling like this house is going to make me more of like a DIY like my sister. My sister Jana is just so gifted and so good at that. And so I feel like this is my opportunity to step up.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to get settled in and get working on some of these projects.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be great. Okay, well, thanks for hanging out with us today, guys.
Thanks for watching.
This has been fun. We'll be back soon.
Yep.
We'll keep you posted on these projects we're doing. Hopefully we'll have a kitchen soon.
Hopefully so.
That would be nice.
I mean, it would be so convenient. Like, I'm just thinking about all the things we have coming up that would be handy to have a kitchen.
yeah, or to be able to wash your
And,
hands
Yeah.
in a sink.
We do wash our hands, guys.
Yeah, but just
sounds gross.
like in the kitchen sink.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
nice.
It'll be fun. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you soon.